Welcome to another video. Today we are looking at what if civilizations are over two human scenario, which means there are two human species if you are new. And we also have Age of Kingdoms. Also, if you want to know when the Age of Kingdoms happened, I will try and put the when the Age of Kingdoms, like the age actually started, I will put a link at the end of the video. And last video we're looking at a lot of things that happened over here. I suddenly cut off the thing because I thought I was doing the one thing and I actually wasn't, so yeah, it was bad. But now with that done, let's get into the video, with the first event being the rise of Carthage. With Carthage having done a lot of building up and restructuring of its entire nation, our good friend Phrygia has made many guilds at this point, and he has used those guilds as ways to get more powerful. Yet he doesn't want too much power, he just wants to hold up his things over here. Also this army here, that kind of didn't do much. But now going over here, we see that Chartegia, the capital, will start to look a bit different. And in due time, we see that Chartegia becomes a capital city with a actual smaller city status than many others. But with the arrival of a Carthaginian city, we see up over here, this town over here loses a lot of its people, and instead sees down in Sardinia this little area, since it's so strategic, being basically the center way between most of these guys going the fastest route and going the longer route, which takes multiple more months and risk the chance of getting raided on the way by Neanderthals or not. It just causes a lot of bad stuff to happen, and we quickly see that with this strategic position, a lot of ships just go by and come around, and like a few times out of the month, you get more people, like around 1,000 or so people come in and like 100 leave. Those are either merchants or like 2 or 5, depending on how many there are. Maybe even 20 people who leave the thing for good, either younglings or not, they will always come back. And we see that through this, it will also gain the city status down here in capital, in the old area of Carthage. It also becomes a city. And over here we see that this area also becomes city, although this town is kind of different. With that, we see that this Carthaginian force over here, that it just kind of took this area over. Let me just do some stuff real quick. Let me and there we go. After this war ended for Corsica, and the areas, even Corsica, finally fell to the Corsica to the Carthaginian might and Phrygia's army and naval forces. We see that Carthagia, with its 3 new cities, has started to use its new army for different things. Most importantly, it has begun to use it against specific nations. Like over here, like I said, this was getting a bit of funding for somehow, and I'm just gonna give you a bit of a thing, a bit of lore dump. Morocco wouldn't have won its independence war. The civil rebellion wouldn't have won its war. It was funded, yes, I know, by Portugal, Malaga, and Gibraltar, but those were paid and knowledgeable things. They didn't give much else except for money and food, and the money was so little and the food was so much, it just dwarfed the amount they would have gotten. The food, yes, fueled the army, but there was so much army there that it would have just died down at least. But now going over here, we see that once the Carthaginian army marches over here, they will begin training. And in this city, we see a little thing called another Assassin's Guild has been found by some of the Carthaginian soldiers. Now this is in Ephesians, this is not Fiji's assassin guild because he has like many guilds and one of them is a secret assassin's guild. Only the army and the emperor and a few. Well, not the emperor but the king, Murmulak II, because Murmulak died a bit ago. He died of while I was talking about the army being reprocessed and stuff, and these two cities coming on. Once this city got over here, he died. When he got here, he got a fever, and he was brought back before having a similar ceremony over here, and then in the capital city, a 5-day ceremony was held so he could be laid rest in this lake, or set to the waters. But we see that this army kind of raids this Assassin's Guild, and they find out it is not Fiji's. No way near is it. And Figia demands some information from the guys who were captured, and once they don't speak, they're given to Fiji's Assassin Guild to test some new things on. And after a few months, they start to speak, and turns out they know who has been spending money on bringing down Carthage. First, the Carthaginians asked if it was the Berbers, but then they just ruled it out, saying that they are too weak in terms of money, don't have much in terms of money. Then they asked if it was the Moroccans. It was a strict no. Then this guy, no. This guy, no. This guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Everyone that you can think of, even the Italic people, and even nations over here that are Neanderthal by nature, don't have any reason to do so. And then Venetia, surprisingly, doesn't have anything to do. What has done a bit of a conspiracy here is that the Carthaginians were a bit closer in terms of investigation, because they got the lead on where the Assassin's Guild's capital would be, and it was in this coastal village where they took the navy and raided it. Once they found out who the leaders were, they went on a multi-month journey throughout these areas. They went back and forth in some areas, went around every single village that they could in the Central Lands, and then when they reached Corsica to try and find some things out, and went up into this town for the first time, because the army didn't go here. Some troops did, but they only took it by sheer coincidence. The Fijians did take it. We see that they find a small document or parchment that gives them something weird, something very powerful, and that's knowledge on who funded their downfall, funded the 2 rebellions, and also the fights over here, and who funded the Corsicans. They find out that it's not anyone from anywhere near them. Rather, it's one weird nation, and that nation's name is surprisingly Nylea. Now I was debating if they would be the ones, but I keep biting my own tongue, I don't know why. But with Nylea being discovered to be the one who keeps supporting the rebellions, a letter and ambassador will arrive talking about, well, first they talk about some stuff, make jokes, but when Nylea mentions about the poor, how they sympathize with the Carthaginians, about their rebellions, the Carthaginian ambassador and his force of around 20 people against the Nylea's 10, because the Nyleans were like, okay, they won't do anything, they don't know. Suddenly, that ambassador is like, we know you did something. We know that you funded rebellions in our country. You funded the Silver Rebellion, and then you funded the Iberian Island Rebellion. You think we don't know? We found out. Assassin Guilds? Yeah, we know about that. and we know what you've been doing. So if you stop it, we'll be nice to you. If you don't, we'll expose you. And turns out, not only did they find out about stuff in Corsica, they found stuff in this little town that has been ignored for so long. And one thing about this town, once the Once the army arrived here, this town didn't let them in. Now you're thinking, why should the army be let in if they're like against their own town? Now, like I said, this town has something to do with the rebellions, and that's because not only has Nylea bought some lands in here, but they have bought so little scattered land, so much of it actually, that it's technically not even Carthaginian anymore. It's mostly Nylean, and the Nyleans have been waiting to make a border with Carthagia to bring it down even more, and then just fund all of these rebellions, get so much money from them in terms of all of that. And they thought Carthagia was still bad, thanks to Phrygia's assassin guild capturing high value people who like high interest people, nobles and barracks that gave out information to anyone for some just silver dime or some copper. What happened was Nylea got only a few liars and no truth givers. And Carthage was already thinking, yo, this is too much. We will lose our things. But the king Phalanx, as he's calling himself, but it's Phalanx, thought that when Murmalak died, when he saw it and heard about it, he was very overjoyed because he could finally fund all of these rebellions, have Carthagia down and just kill their entire people. Because one thing that happened to the Nyleans, the Nylean, well, how do I say this, queen, the Phalanx's basically mother, when he was young, loved a Carthaginian man who turned out to be Murmalak's father. No, not Murmalak's father, but Murmalak himself. And yeah, actually Murmalak's father, because then Murmalak and Phalanx were children. And they constantly met in Caesarea just to like talk around and stuff. And at this point, Murmalak's father, Ara, would not know about Phalanx's father's problem, and that was that Phalanx's father had a mental condition that made him go insane. It was unknown at the time what it would be, and even others don't know what it was. It was a very strange and rare case of that. But we see that Phalanx's mother betrayed her fiance or husband, and slept with Murmalak's father's uncle. And what came of it was that Murmalak's uncle was technically not Murmalak's uncle. He was actually the first son of Murmalak, not Murmalak, but the first son of Ara, and Ara, how do I say this? Killed the woman that slept with him all the time, but Phalanx's mother was the first woman he actually loved. So when she finally turned out to be pregnant with his child, he didn't kill her, and she left to live with him in Sparta, where they still reside. But Ara is the only one living. His wife, or Phalanx's mother, was assassinated during a well, kind of thing. And around this time, Chartegia actually moved its forces over here, did some stuff, yada yada yada. I've been talking too much. And we see that Nalea was also during this time funding the Libyan rebellion. And we see that the Libyans are ready to rebel. With one man's word, they will begin the entire movement to liberate and retake their own home. And we see that this quickly evolves into something called retaking their homeland. Not only do they do that, but once they do, it turns out to be a great move, because when they started to do all of this, yeah, that's noticeable. They kinda just took whatever possibility they could in terms of like taking these areas. And the first thing that happened was that when some of these villages joined, many others also joined that were like very considerate of each other. And when the southern areas decided to join, it was like an entire new thing had happened to these guys, because nobody really thought that the entire south kind of would join. Well, not the entire the south, but some of it would. And we quickly see with these rebellions being an actual threat to these guys, to the Venetians, we see that not only will these forces quickly move into the coastal regions to deny some access to the little defensive forces that the Venetians did put here, but they used the power of their, well, aid and their small little navy that they had to basically cut off any attempts to leave the areas. Once a Venetian navy did arrive, they wouldn't do that much of a good thing. But we do see that over here they started to move quite far, and once they took all of this, they were like, yo, you either give us our homeland back or we're gonna invade you. First thing that happened, they took these areas from their little attack, and we see in the following attack over here, they almost took the second village over here, but they were stopped in the nick of time. And we see that they actually managed to push over here and take this village. And once they took the second last village and pushed out the Libyans, it was quickly a kind of fight for these areas, where we see that the Libyans did take this over. The Venetians then tried to bribe a lot of nobles to join their side with and cause, but those nobles had already long since ago abandoned their posts, as to say. And with that, they kind of made a new Libya that quickly made an alliance with Chartegia. And that alliance would be known as the 3-Point Mediterranean. And the alliance, the syndicate of the Mediterranean and Sea would be made. And it turns out why Libya made an alliance with Chartegia was because Chartegia had a damn entire fucking force on their border. Like, they had an army on the border doing other stuff, and the Libyans thought they were going to be invaded. So they made an alliance directly with them. And turns out once they got news that these guys weren't doing too much, and they were only like getting rid of some instability that they had in their own country, we quickly see that not only would they be kind of helped out, that being these guys, but once it was made sure of that the army over here was ready, we see that the Carthaginians had a little army made right beside here. And once that army was done, well, as you can see, I'm making another one because the Libyans made one over here. and another one which was kind of exactly the same size. And once these two were ready to move, they asked the Carthaginian army to move with them, and with the Carthaginians being like, okay, you can move, but just don't go too overboard. They moved forward until they reached the border over here of Nilea. And when Carthagia saw what these guys were doing, and then remembered that there were weird looking troops over here, a inspector from the someone who had the exact description of what the troops over here look like in the United army over here. Also, your army a bit too big. I'm gonna have to probably downgrade it a bit, because you may have already kind of changed your idea of what to do with this army. Also, the more pixels one army has, the more it can make those armies. That's basically what's going on. Also, they're seeing some instability over there. That's why they have an army now there. And we see that with the Venetian army that had been over top, not doing much, but being over here, because they do have border forces. They are not putting any forces here. They don't think that any tribes over here would do anything, but we have somebody who's doing something, and I will get to them in a bit. But we see that once Nilea is not ready for this war, let's just say, and the inspector arrives to look at these border troops who are here, who are very compliant. They don't really see any point in not complying. It is confirmed that these guys are the same guys who attacked the Carthaginian forces over here. And once that was made sure of, a war of revengeance avenging was declared amongst the Carthaginians, and we see that they quickly told the Libyan armies to get into formation. The Libyan armies would still make a weird thing happen, where they kind of made the weird thing of just aiding the Carthaginian army from the sides. And once the order was given, the armies pushed into these areas, pushed down, took this town, pushed down, and then took this town. Kind of rhymed. They pushed up into this area, and once they were done pushing, the Carthaginians sent some of these armies to push forward, and they would wait in the area over here. Wait a minute, please, for me to do some stuff. And we quickly see that once the forces over here were ready, and the Carthaginians were ready to fight, this whole thing over here is what the Carthaginians took, and this is what the Libyan army took. So we can see that the Libyans are doing quite well, and they even sent some forces to attack this town, but they are unable to attack it in a one strategic attack. So they start to surround it, taking these two villages and then surrounding the city from the shore. Also starting a siege of attacking or seizing. And once supplies started to reach here, Nilea quickly saw that not only had its ranking been kind of different, but this ranking system, the rankings, the Carthaginians, even though the Nileans are fourth due to their massive navy and their large economy, they're not truly fourth in terms of power. The rankings are power rankings. The power rankings would be so different. These guys would be first. These guys, I don't know, maybe second. These guys third, and this guy would be fourth. This guy, I think they're up below 15, in terms of military forces, because they have so little borders to worry of, and so little and so much navy to work with. And speaking of navy, not only does the navies have some problems currently, but if we look, these guys have been constantly building these 5 ships, and turns out all of their funding for these 5 ships to be made was a complete crap of time, because they never made them. And looking at the vastly superior Carthaginian navy, and vastly superior these guys' navy, because these guys, they lose their entire navy. That's what happens, and they're still stuck at the exact problem that they were stuck at before, where we can see they were currently at 15. Now they're at 0. They're at 0. I know, shocking. But not only is it shocking for both for the Nileans and everyone else around them, these guys, they have been building a large damn navy. And if we look, they have 13 here, 13 here. Oh, look at them. They can make a large navy of 23. And look at that. They can also make another 23. Meaning that they are even stronger than these guys. Because these guys, Nileans, don't have any navy. And their puppet down south. How do I explain this? Declares independence. And then begins invading them. Well, when these guys started to invade, they still had some forces in them that they had to deal with. Some Nilean forces that they unfortunately had to destroy, pummel, not allowed to exist anymore, slit the throat. So yeah, I'm gonna stop right there. That would get me pretty much banned. But we see that with the Sudanese forces over here starting to move, and finding that the Nilean army is weirdly strong, and they're not able to take any other villages except for these 2 that they already took, being these 2 ones. They find that actually the Nilean army is, like, in terms of navy, they are a rising power that is like waiting, like a beast in waiting, basically, or well, a beast that doesn't want to move yet. But once they lost that ability to attack, and they kind of saw themselves lose all ability to defend, well, except for the south, where the tribals were still in the tribal states, they weren't that strong. We see that the Carthaginian army and the Libyan armies went up here, took out this city, and once they started to move over here, and the Libyans took position around this town city over here or something. The Carthaginians took position over there, and the second Libyan army pushed all the way down south. We see that not only has this fallen, but suddenly the Nileans are having a bad time, and their one town that is being currently attacked is seeing massive amounts of Libyan forces just push into them and destroy a lot of their areas. Now, as we can see, the Libyan forces and the Carthaginians are doing much, even though the Carthaginians took this area and now have for some reason given it over. The Sinais have also suddenly decided to help these guys, because there's still people over here that they want to rebellate. And once they start to push from here, they find it's incredibly hard to take the second town, because it's not very supportive of them, even though it's kind of their own people over here. But turns out, not only have these people been brainwashed, they have been washed so much that most of them over here near the capital have been kind of brainwashed to think that they are, like, the children have been exposed to so much propaganda and so much hype and glaze from the Egyptians towards themselves, that the Sinai peoples have kind of started to disappear because of assimilation. But with these areas over here still having their ability to attack, we see that not only has the Sinai people started to rise up, once they rise up and start to speak their own minds, and the older generation starts to speak about that the fatherland is coming back to them, we quickly see that the other Sinai people up here were like, yo, why are you saying all of this? This is treason. Once the elders start to talk about how the Sinai people are the true people, the Egyptians don't even care about who is on their side as long as they do their bidding. This entire town falls. That's what happens. Once that town falls, we see that this town falls. And not only to say something weirder, but weird. A small Libyan attack force has arrived over here and taken this area. And once the army, the first Libyan army, sees this glorification of these areas, they go over here and flank this entire town, taking it over and then pushing over here. Once they push over there, the Carthaginians, not to be outdone, took this town just casually and pushed up to here where they met the Sinai armies. And they started to push down south where they took 2 towns before they're kind of being stopped. Because the Libyans, they have also been stopped by what appears to be a mega force of whatever the hell you can think of. And the reason why the Sinais have been so well off currently, they have a lot of land. They have enough land and they are able to defend that land. With that, you also see that over here, another army has arrived. 2 armies in fact, and these armies have somehow pushed back these guys and even pushed far into their previous puppet, who now is seeing a large amount of failures because they can't defend themselves. And once news that the capital was in danger arrived to them, they took whatever ability they had to attack and they used it. But once this guy kind of joined with this guy, they were kind of invading another nation's territory, so yeah, they were pushed back. Because too many tribals kind of were there and they were pushed back. With the tribals being pushed back, they kind of decided to they leave some areas alone while the others were kind of just taken over. So these areas over here, they took over. These 3 areas. And once this guy was like, no, give us everything. And Nalea just took these areas and said, no, you ain't getting anything. This nation was like, yo, I'm just gonna stop. And once the army, the Nilean army arrived, not trying to glaze too much here, we see that the both the Carthaginian army, who has still not been able to recover from their previous problems, and the Libyans, who kind of neglected their western flank, kind of see a lot of problems. But once the Libyans kind of start to push over here and cut off all of this, and the scouts also take out these forces over here and also start to consolidate, we see that the general over here that was in charge of the army, that was the best army of Nilea, which also was the best army of their own region and also gave them the status of 4th, decided to quickly advocate for a new leader. That new leader being in fact himself. And once he took over these 2 towns to kind of appropriate the lands for himself, we see that the Sinai army tried and failed, but still tried to take over these southern areas because they wanted their own landsman back. And after a bit more of recruitment and another town just joining them out of the blue with little to no lands and even a small little useless peninsula over here joining them, and the southern lands all joining because they wanted to control these areas, it was clear that Nylea was not only collapsing, but it was having rebellion. And once that was clear, and the rest of these forces were taken care of over here, because, well, yeah, and some of these areas over here were taken over, and all of this had at some point just given up. Well, not all of it. Some areas, like these 4 villages over here, just didn't give up. They still held out with a pretty good garrison of their own, who were loyal to Phalanx, who currently is shivering in his own area over here, being still smug as ass. And we see that his smugness would destroy him when his own forces gave up, and he ordered them to attack still, and that just made them just think, yo, let's just kill this guy. This guy is nothing but trouble for us. And once that was done, we see that the war is over, and it's high noon for the guys over here to take them over some areas. And as we can see, not only have the Sinais taken over a large amount of the coast and the Eastern Islands, they have imposed many reparations. And once this rebellion over here takes over all of the south, they declare that Phalanx is ousted, and they will take over all of the regions that they have lost. We see that not only will they not be able to gain a lot of their lands back, but the Libyans move their border quite far over here. And with moving the border that far, they have won some territory down over here, where they have also done a small push towards to take some more territory. And with the Libyans being this strong, and them already doing that much, and the Carthaginians managing to now pull themselves together, not only has both these two guys relations gone quite well, they managed to not only push together, they have managed to develop together, and once that is made sure of, they are almost ready to go to war with anyone they want. And when we see that these two forces over here just really quick go up here, pick up the Old Brotherhood, and just skedaddle. Well, before they just leave, they train some units over here, and we actually see that I haven't put in this as the capital. My damn bad. But once they do that, Libya will put their first army over here, and their second army will head back to their capital. And Carthagena will not only pull out its army from Libya, they will actually compensate the Libyans for their losses. And we also see that the Berbers are seeing some problems, which, yes, they have still a large army, but most of the army starts to defect, and once that is seen, we see that most of it, even though it's larger over here, this army here, yeah, this is the new army. It's almost twice the size. It's actually 1.5 times the norm. And once that is made sure of, and the old army over here was... Wait, let me just quickly swappy to the rappy. We see that, yeah, this is what happens. Many units leave the Berber army, and once the Berber Empire sees a lot of political downfall, and eventually suffers a actual coup in their own territory, as we see that some of their own lands decide that the now true ruler, who is still a damn child, because Berbers work that way, and it's my word, I just choose what happens here. Yeah. We see that not only do they take over all this area, they call a large amount of these border areas to join them and start attacking the Carthaginians, because they think they will be attacked, and they also think that the Carthaginians are still weak and think that their reforms haven't done anything. Bad timing, because not only have they effed around and found out too much, they have effed around and not found out. And once they find out, they will not like to do a lot of effing around. And to be honest, not only will... Oh my god. No way, bro. No, nah, this is not possible. We see that this army gives up on the old Berbers and joins this rebellion. And once that is made sure of, forces are actually sent into Carthage to invade, and they just say that they will take over these areas over here and take this city that they think that Carthage is not able to defend. But once they arrive near the coastline and have taken like 4 villages, they find that the villagers start to rebel. And when they try to use the old tactic of intimidation, they still rebel, because they don't really find a reason to behave. And once these areas start to fall back, not only do these villagers get too bold, they get bold enough to the point that they take over a Berber village. And when a Berber village is taken, the usual response is to not go and send everyone. When a village is taken, the response: send your part of your army to take it back. What the Berbers do is send all of their army to take it back. Bad choice, because the guys over here, these guys, very much not happy with the new lurers, and this guy over here decided that, you know what, I was lying. And this general who still holds this kid who has seen enough trauma, has seen his entire family die, and is seeing that his nation is being invaded by Chartegia, who is invading out of defense. We see that this child is like very much scarred. He won't see anything like that to be normal ever again. He's like a war orphan at this point. And not only that, the southern Berbers continue to hate these guys. And not only will the military stop aiding some areas, we see that once these areas are taken by the Carthaginians will demand them to give them over, because they want a buffer zone. And once they are again attacked, they will not only take these regions by force, they will use their superior forces, because Fiji is still like part of their army. They will use them to push into these areas and just take over the rest of the areas until they kind of push past the Atlas Mountain Range and just take these areas. At this point, the Carthaginians are like, yo, want these lands, we're giving it to you, bye-bye. And they just leave. And once they leave, nobody knew that they took these lands. So when the Carthaginians pushed over here, the Moroccans, who at this point have solid their army to deal with, also, I don't want that little assailant to still be there. We see that the Berbers also give some areas back over to these guys over here, because, well, Carthage. Carthagia. My tongue hurts. I don't know why my tongue hurts. It's weird. I have problems with it. But once Chartegia takes all of this land, they actually compensate the Berbers, who have never seen any Carthaginian compensate them or just help them in any way or give them land. Once they lose land, gain back some of their lands from the rebellion, they are like, yo, can we have some of our lands back? And the Carthaginians are like, you know what, have at it, we don't really need most of your land. We just don't have any reason to take your lands. We just wanted to make a buffer zone between you and the rebellion and us. Because, yeah, that was our entire plan. And once that was made sure of, and we find out that some Carthaginian areas were actually sacrificed. Wait, let me just quickly change the whole thing. Alright, I porous the border. And that's done. I don't know if I've been recording all the time, but if I have, I haven't. Well, I should be ending the video. We see that this area is given back over to the Libyans because it has some Libyan people in it. And again, a little bit. To be honest, I have never looked at the region for a while. But with all of this done, we actually see one last event, and that is the dissolvement of this military alliance, law pact or something, between both Naples and the Southern Kingdom of Italy. Why? Because these two have united under one flag. Now this flag, yet it may be a bit weird, it's not only Napoleon but also these guys. And once that is made sure of, and these two kinda choose a capital to have, we see that they move both of their capitals over to here, more south, because that's kind of more away from the other areas. Also, Napoleon's areas are mostly integrated to this guy, and this guy same to Napoleon, so it's normal. Also, push them closer to this, and well, yeah, helps them govern all this. But with this more powerful southern area becoming exactly that, and this area up here becoming hard to look at, because to be honest, these guys are very much against the Venetian occupation, and they slowly start to get more and more mad at it. Same with these guys over here, who very much are trying to get their independence. We see that these guys do a bit of weird thing, and the weird thing is expansion toward the Venetians. And why did they expand towards the Venetians? Well, we're going to find that out. And not only are we going to find that out, we find out that these guys are now going to be called Bavaria, because they're in the Bavarian region or somewhere near that. I don't know. They must be near it, or this is Bavaria. I don't. Any German who is in the comments, please tell me if this is Bavaria's region or somewhere near it, because I'm very much trying here. But with that, I think this video is over. Thank you guys for watching. It has been a great video for me to make for you guys. And not only has it been a great video for me, it has been a great video for me to actually just make for you guys. And it's just been very fun to make these videos for you guys. It's pretty much very fun. Sometimes guys comment on the videos, sometimes it's kinda just question. I answer it and you guys just find stuff to do with the questions, and or you just do stuff. And I haven't very much done a lot, but I'm trying here and there. But yeah, see you guys next time, and goodbye. Quick note, I have been just looking at the borders, and this looks horrid. This has been looking horrid for a bit now. Ah yes, perfect. Also, a quick talk about Bavaria here. They hate Venetia. Dearly hate them. And the Venetians don't know about them. They don't know that there's a nation on the borders. Even though the nation has already done some tribal stuff over here and taken back some of the territories, Venetia has like been giving them the cold finger basically. But yeah, see you guys next time. Bye!